Home ice for the Toronto Marlies hasn't been as sweet this season as they'd like as they look to move the compass needle north to Coca-Cola Coliseum against their division rivals, the Rochester Americans. The Amerks have been on the offensive when they see the Marlies. They've had 4 5-goal games this 6-game series. As the weekend began, the two teams were separated by just 3 points, and the Marlies hope to fight their way within 1 point of second place. The Amerks were feeling less than charitable, even though a goal came early. Michael Hutchinson held the line in spectacular fashion, but the chances at the other end started to unravel in the third period. Redemption is on the Sunday dinner menu here in Toronto. The Amerks, the Marlies, next. On the backhand, scores! There's Rocco, scores!
The Rochester Americans are back in Toronto tonight to finish up their 3rd game in 3 days and their 2nd straight game against the Marlies. Welcome inside the Coca-Cola Coliseum. You're watching Scotiabank Toronto Marlies hockey on Leafs Nation Network. Last night, the Marlies fell to the Amerks 5-3, even though they entered the 3rd period tied 2 apiece. Tonight, they'll look to get revenge on their divisional rivals. And it's a doubleheader here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum. Earlier in the day, the Clarkson Cup was awarded in a game featuring the Calgary Inferno and Les Canadiens. It was the Calgary Inferno who took the cup home with a 5-3 victory. Or 5-2 victory, excuse me. In celebration of that, it is Women's Hockey Day here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum, and I am pleased to announce that Cassie Campbell-Pascal will be dropping the puck in a ceremonial face-off today, and she'll be up in the booth joining Todd Crocker and Bob McGill for the 1st period. Before that, let's head upstairs to the booth now and get the thoughts from Todd and Bob on last night's game. Guys?
Well, thanks, Kelsey. The Marlies came into the weekend. They were within 3 points of the Rochester Americans for 2nd place and home ice in the playoffs. This was an important couple of games to draw within a point, maybe overtake the Amerks over the course of this weekend. But, Bob, a tall order. This Amerks club was awfully good yesterday.
Yeah, they were. They had 3 consecutive losses coming into the match, and they traded goals in the first period. It's 1-1 after 20, 2-2 after the second, and then in the 3rd period of play, Victor Olofsson kind of took control. He's a guy leading the Rochester Americans with the 26th and 27th goal. They'd end up with an empty netter as well, and they now have that 5-point advantage coming into the game here. So the Marlies will look to see if they can again get it to 3 with a victory here back on home ice again today.
Well, Calle Rosen will be back in the lineup today, and he is a big missing piece for this club.
Without question. He was leading the American Hockey League defense in scoring with 44 points. He's missed 12 games. He's dropped to 5th in that category now, but a much welcomed addition to the hockey club. He comes off a foot injury, and he's going to help hopefully spark not only the power play, but to get some push from the back end offensively during 5-on-5 play to help them get back on the winning track here today.
Well, for more on this afternoon's game, let's head downstairs. Kelsey is standing by with Sheldon Keefe.
Thanks, Todd. Sheldon, tonight will be the last time the Marlies face off against Rochester in the regular season. What are you hoping to see from your team tonight?
Well, we're just hoping we have a better effort than yesterday. We just didn't skate and didn't work yesterday, and we think anytime that happens, as a coaching staff, to reflect and ask yourself why. We think we've got their attention today and made a better plan, a more clear and concise plan, because clearly that was an issue yesterday, because we just felt our guys weren't skating, maybe overthinking, but we need to have a better response here. This is an upper echelon team in the league, and if we don't have a better effort, then you're going to not have the puck very much, which was the case yesterday.
The back end gets a boost today with Calle Rosen back in the lineup after missing over a month. What are you hoping to see from him?
Well, we just want him to get back and get comfortable, find his legs. Obviously, he's a key player for our team. It's going to take him some time to find his game again, but it's going to allow us to spread out the minutes a little bit better here and not put as much responsibility on Sandin, Laverty, Liljegren, these guys that have taken on a lot here of late, so that's going to really help our cause. But as I say, we're going to be patient as he finds his game again, but certainly it's really nice to have him back.
Thanks, Sheldon. Todd?
Sitting down for some Sunday afternoon hockey here in Toronto. We have the Marlies and the Americans next. It's Hockey Day here in Toronto, and three-time Olympian, two-time gold medalist Cassie Campbell-Pascal dropping the puck on the ceremonial face-off. She will join us as she makes her way up here from there as the Toronto Marlies face the Rochester Americans. Starting in goal for the Amerks, Scott Wedgwood.
Well, back-to-back starts for Scott Wedgwood. He had a couple of game losing streak snapped yesterday. 23 saves on 25 shots in that victory over the Marlies yesterday afternoon. Casimir Kaskisuo 9-9-3, looking to get back on track. He hasn't won a game since back in Syracuse on the 23rd of February.
They've been close. Loverde up ice as the Marlies get a hold of it, but right back in. Here's Taylor Lear as he rips one off the glove of Kaskisuo. Trying to reach for Timashov. Juris along the wall. Played right into the feet of Timashov, and he skates along, moving it to Loverde quickly. Up off the boards and in. Coming back to it, Morgan. Juris to it as well. And there's Calle Rosen out for his first go-round. After the injury, he was hopping to get back to it. Smith, a sneaky one on the pads. As Timashov.
He almost caught Kaskisuo by surprise a little bit there.
Yeah, Asplund, the rookie, picks it up and cuts back. Timashov right behind him. Olofsson plays it along. He had 2 goals yesterday in the third period, and that really was the difference. Empty netter added. Here's Pache, shot toward the goal, blocked away by Kaskisuo through the middle, past Engvall, and it is picked up and back in to the Toronto zone. Bracco comes back as Olofsson into the corner, lifted into the far side. Sandin there quickly to it, moves it up and out. Engvall reaching for it, but is back for Hickey as he works behind his own goal. Brooks trying to capture it. Brooks, Bracco, and Engvall align here in the early evening for the Toronto Marlies. Back in it goes, past everybody. Oleksy comes back behind the goal. Now, a couple of changes, in fact, changes the order of business for the Toronto Marlies and Sheldon Keefe over the last, really, couple of months. They have not been able to really put together a strong, always everyday line.
Well, injuries and call-ups have forced the hand of Coach Keefe to have to shuffle the deck on many occasions throughout the course of every night, it seems. And a new lineup here today is you got Oleksy and Calle Rosen back in the lineup on the back end. Scott Pooley in here today as well.
Here's McMaster centering it back out, but a little bit beyond Mueller as they work with Carcone. Here's Veilleux from behind the goal. Sandin steals it away. Good job by Rasmus Sandin to pick up the puck as he moves it ahead. After it, Elena Pooley in as well. Spent a fair time with the Newfoundland Growlers, who find themselves in the Kelly Cup and searching for first spot in their division. Congratulations to them. Hickey takes a shot along the boards, and back it comes. Rosen puts the skates to it. Elenick plays it back up and in.
That's a big body check right there by Griffin Molina, who gets in the forecheck. And Hickey's having some obviously problems getting to the Rochester bench, but he makes it under his own power.
Big shot stopped away and pushed away. Lear trying to work past Molino. Mueller working out of the corner. Amerks get a hold of it, but Mueller not satisfied with it. He comes right back through the middle and sends it inside of the goal. Played by Wedgwood into the corner. Carcone trying to get to it. Here's Christian Rubens along the far boards. In off his feet, Carcone turns around and he sends one screaming. But off target. Oleksy down into the corner. He's got McMaster beside him, but it wanders up the boards, and now Olofsson takes off. McMaster back checks him, and they play it in. Rubens trying to get it back on target. That one takes a right turn. Oleksy moving it quickly, and Timashov trying to get to it. Back up at the point. Played off the half boards. Doherty comes around and they're going to hang on to it. Olofsson looks in, shot off the pads. Juris comes back, looks up ice. He's got Timashov as he leads him along. Timashov was trying to get back the other way. He was held up in the process, but they're able to move it back up through the middle. Remieli was dangerous in that first game of the weekend.
Well, good pace to kick this game off as we're coming to 4.5 minutes gone here in period number 1. And I think that's something the Toronto Marlies want to push the pace as Rochester playing their third game on the weekend. Just the second here for Toronto. So they want to keep this game moving along and try and tire out the Americans and force some turnovers.
Back up through the middle. Here's Simpson toward the goal and played off into the corner. Criscuolo. Simpson out of the corner, walks his way to the goal, tried to go upstairs, but he sent it off the crossbar, and it's played back out into center ice.
Wow, Wayne Simpson, a power move from down almost against the end boards, comes out from below the goal line, walks out, he goes top shelf, far side over the glove of Criscuolo, but goes off the goalpost crossbar together and out the other way, so the Marlies dodge a bullet here in the first 5-6 minutes here of period number 1.
Relentless to get it across the line, but they do not do it in timely fashion. Now here's Criscuolo.
Well, it starts as the puck just gets put in behind the net, and Simpson picks up this puck and he looks around and there's no blue sweater defending him whatsoever, so he just gets on his horse and walks out from below the goal line, and he gets a great opportunity to go up and over the glove of Criscuolo, and it goes off the goalpost and out the other side. And the Rochester Americans have had a couple of pretty good opportunities to open the scoring here in their third game on the weekend, and they're 1-1 so far as they lost at home Friday night to the Cleveland Monsters, and then the 5-2 victory yesterday evening here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum, looking to see if they can continue to make space between them and the Toronto Marlies, if they can come away with another victory here today. And that's where the Marlies' job is, to try to end the weekend with just a 3-point deficit to Rochester for second place here in the North Division.
Side of the goal, back up, Doherty. High on the line, Lear with a hard shot. It goes off the stick and into the corner. Liljegren has it bounced to him as he tries to convince that puck out of the corner. Mueller back, Liljegren from behind the goal. This one is looking for a home up top. Hickey moves it quickly. Doherty down into the corner. Lear on the back side waiting for it. C.J. Smith toward the goal, knocked down, but it is picked up by Carconi. He works his way back through the middle and chips it off into the far corner. The Marlies interested in a change 6 minutes 15 in. They have not registered a shot on goal. Back up, and here comes Juris. Hangs up, and he's got Rubens, and he finds Alexi toward the goal, and Baptiste was right there at the side of the goal, looking for his second in as many games. Alexi fights off his man. Looks back through the middle. Rubens shot, and that one glances off. He had Juris out front, trying to make contact. Alexi back up. Timashov steps around one, steps around two, put on goal, and stopped by Wedgwood. Juris again. Baptiste quick to it. Up to the point. Cross ice. Loverde from the bench. Drops it down into the corner. Juris back to it as well. Here's Baptiste. Timashov far side, but a good stick. Kept in by the Marlies. Loverde. Timashov looking out front. Gets some pressure. Timashov behind the goal. Juris looking for it. After it goes O'Regan. Loverde keeps it in, and he works it loose. Loverde and Juris. One step past as Bracco came on. Back for Rosen. Waiting to get back on side. Bracco.
Oh, that was a great chip for the Toronto Marlies, and that's what Sheldon Keefe wants. Sustained pressure in the offensive zone.
McWilliam works his way in and takes the shot. Long one ahead for Engvall. Turns around off the boards. Adam Brooks has to play it back to Rosen. Liljegren up ice. He's got Engvall and Brooks. He puts it round behind as Wedgwood comes out to play it. Now Wedgwood had to be quick. knock hard to the boards. Adam Brooks, he's down and slow to get up.
Andrew McWilliam, former Marley.
Simpson, here's Criscuolo in the glove.
Big hit, but Kyle Criscuolo with a great chance to end it all as Rochester coming right back the other way.
Big hits in this game so far as it remains 0 apiece. Oh, we welcome Cassie Campbell-Pascal to the broadcast. Working the second one today, a little bit overtime for you as you got the Clarkson Cup in and now you get a Marlies game.
Well, I love it. I love the atmosphere. It was a great atmosphere for the Clarkson Cup and then again here today. And I know there might be some playoff implications today. It could be, I guess. Maybe not so much after the loss yesterday, but this is a fun atmosphere and fun building to be in for sure.
Yeah, no question. The Amerks in a situation where they could put some distance between themselves and the Marlies and really solidify their home ice opportunities as Adam Brooks just finds his way down the tunnel back to the Marlies dressing room after the big hit he takes along the end wall. And now Chris Mueller and Criscuolo. It finds his way back. Hard shot by Hickey. That's a couple he's uncorked. Back along the near wall. Hickey again at the line. To the far side, out front looking for Remieli as Mueller comes back to it. Skating to it, Calle Rosen, his first game back here after the foot injury. Tipped back out and up rather, but not out. And into the corner, Ellie put to the boards by Loverde. No call as Doherty keeps it in again. This time it goes off McMaster and Carcone is able to skate into it. Carcone not controlling that one as it comes back in. Lane Simpson, little shot there by Liljegren, out to the middle, and it is tipped back out by Hudson Elena. Back in it goes. Round behind the goal, a little bit of distance here for Veilleux as he moves it ahead. Finding Cornell, drives out wide, Sandin keeping him there. Big rebound, comes bouncing out, and Elena skates to it through the middle, but he's back checked by Cornell, but not quite the way the referee wanted to see it. A slash coming up here. And the Toronto Marlies.
Cornell is going to take a seat for 2 minutes or less on a slashing call. And through the neutral zone, when there's a player getting after a loose puck, you got to be careful with your stick. And this is one of those penalties that drive coaches crazy. I know you're coming back hard on the back check, but you got to make sure you keep your stick to yourself. And Cornell chops the stick of Eleniuk, and as a result, the Toronto Marlies will go to their first power play of the hockey game, looking to see if they can get on the board first here this afternoon.
Well, Chris Taylor having a look over and knows he does not want to give this Marlies power play too many chances. They got 5 yesterday, didn't convert on any of them, but that one comes all the way back to Kaskisuo. But the sharpness of this power play with Rosen now added to the lineup. This would be Sandin usually, and Liljegren on the other unit. Played back into the corner, Mueller trying to get to it, O'Regan back up to the point, and Rosen right back to the wall to Jeremy Bracco. Bracco drifts down to the hash marks, looks back up high, Rosen finding Carcone, he got it awkwardly, and that offered an opportunity for Porter to get it right back out. Bracco steps by Asplund and comes across the line, moves it quickly to Mueller, trying to give it back, but along the wall, up and out, and the Marlies power play having a tough time getting established on this first go-round. Kaskisuo now under pressure as he mishandles the puck. Out front it goes, and Rasmus Sandin very nearly with an own goal as he got a stick on it, but Kaskisuo quick with the pad. When
your goaltender comes out and starts to play the puck and doesn't do the correct thing, spells trouble and almost costs him.
Timashov side of the goal, Engvall as it comes back up along for Sandin. Round behind Eleniuk. He's getting some power play time and some. Well, that one came back outside the line. Sandin disputes it, but we take a look at this replay here on the giveaway. As these are tense moments, Cassie, when the goaltender starts to.
Well, he comes out pretty far too, right? And then he just mishandles it there, and then you know you're in trouble. And actually, the Americans did a good job recognizing they had not only one guy come up in pressure, but when they realized he was struggling, they sent their second guy as well. And of course, almost an own goal. You come back and back check, and you're showing lots of energy, and you just put your stick in the wrong place and it goes in the back of your net most times. So the Marlies got a little lucky there.
The intentions and the road it travels. Back up ice it goes, and Kaskasoo will play this one. 29 seconds left to go on the power play opportunity as Sandin works this second unit. And Bracco with Timashov now. Baptiste on the right side. It's Engvall who plays it hard around. Baptiste again. They'll let that one go. Engvall reaches out. He's got the reach to do it. Sandin pokes it over to Bracco. A bit of a misplay. Back over to Timashov. He was hoping to find Engvall on the backside, and it is picked up and right back the other way as Cornell comes out of the box. And Timashov will send it back into the safe zone with Sandin. And the Marlies going to make some changes out in front. Oleksy trying to hit Timashov. Pooley in behind everybody. Round behind the goal. Trying to step out on the near side. Elena. He gets some pressure. Doherty right on top. Molino handles it and moves it to Rubens. And the connection point just does not quite come together. And now Doherty's doing a pretty good job of keeping Pooley on the ground. I think the ref has called out a 2 count, but Pooley got his shoulders off the mat. Back up along the middle of the ice by everybody, and this will be picked up for icing by Oleksy. And the big news today, the 3rd championship in a year handed out here at Coca-Cola Coliseum. You've got one to the Markham Thunder last year. You've got the Calder Cup for the Toronto Marlies, and now you've got another one here handed out to the Calgary Inferno. Your thoughts on just the atmosphere in the building earlier today?
Yeah, there was a terrific crowd for the Clarkson Cup, and the commissioner, Jana Hefford, and her staff did a really nice job. And for the Montreal Canadiens, without arguably the best player to ever play the game, Marie-Philippe Poulin couldn't play. She was on the bench but injured today, and the Calgary Inferno, just their depth kind of took over, and I think the best team won today.
Well, you see the effort that gets put into it, not just from putting the event together here at Coca-Cola Coliseum, but the effort and the intensity on the ice was unmatched. Long one back in. Good game.
Yeah, it really was, and it got physical. I thought the first period was a little bit tentative, and then the second and third with a lot more on the line. Obviously, it gets a little more intense, and it got a little more physical, and you saw a little bit more body contact, which I always love to see in the women's game.
Back out of the corner, Olofsson sends it out front, shot, scores. Olofsson, the director of the offense in the 3rd last night, comes up with a great feed for Danny O'Regan.
Well, Danny O'Regan, who had a pair of assists yesterday afternoon, gets the Rochester Americans on the board in this one, and it is something where it's Asplund who ends up getting this puck, and when they move it around, Olofsson gets it down below the goal line from O'Regan, and then across through almost the hash marks. And again, the Marlies get caught where they're watching the puck and not marking their man, and Asplund makes no mistake of beating Kaskasoo with the quick shot, and just like that, the Rochester Americans with the opening goal of the hockey game.
Asplund, the leading rookie on this Amherst team, 8 goals so far this season, 33 points. Timashov trying to send one in, and Wedgwood at the wall. High fly ball, grabs that one up as the Rochester Americans pick up the first goal of the hockey game as Asplund, the rookie, connects. Well, if you do not know the name Brianna Decker, you haven't been watching hockey lately.
Yeah, just, we talk up here in Canada about Marie-Philippe Poulin, rightfully so, but Brianna Decker's right up there for me as far as hockey sense and skill and her imagination on the ice. And there's just a perfect shot on the power play. Ended up being the game winner for the Calgary Inferno, just right above the right pad of the goaltender, Emrance Mashmeyer. And just, she was all over the ice. She was by far the best player, and rightfully so was named the MVP for the game.
The speed has now become legendary, hasn't it?
Well, I couldn't shoot like that, I'll tell you much. There wasn't many players that really could shoot like that. And, back in my day, the reason why I think Haley Wickenheiser was so good is because she always had a good shot. Everyone could skate just the same and was just as strong maybe, but her shot really differentiated her, and that's why she was so good.
Of course, Haley Wickenheiser teaching a little bit about that shot in the Leafs organization.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for her, and deservedly so. And, you know, the thing for me, guys, is that we have a lot of women that have been coaching for a lot of years, and I really think that it's a good first step, but I think we deserve bigger steps. I really think we should have a woman behind the bench. And, you know, a lot of these guys grew up watching women's hockey. They think it's acceptable. They think it's normal. They have sisters that played, and, you know, some of them are young enough now where their mothers maybe actually played as well. So, you know, they don't mind if it's a man or a woman's voice. They respect it, and they respect the game. And I feel that way in the NHL arenas that I go into. All these guys respect the female game, and it's really fun to see.
Well, and there's nothing that gets a little bit of respect like winning.
Yeah.
And if you can continue to find ways to win, it doesn't matter who you are. Absolutely. There you see Haley Wickenheiser, who joins player development here with the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. She works extensively with the Toronto Marlies and, of course, all the prospects in the organization.
I tell you, I've watched her out on the ice with the guys, and it is really tremendous to see. And there's always something to learn. And the players, you see how keen they are when she's out there, and I think that shows the respect that they have for her abilities.
Oh, we got a high stick on the play as Steve Oleksy got one from C.J. Smith. We'll be back with another Marlies power play.
Rochester American C.J. Smith in the penalty box for a high sticking call that happens in the neutral zone. And this is one of those plays where a bit of a dangerous one is Steve Oleksy gets the stick right in the face, and he goes down, but he gets right back up. But nonetheless, the Toronto Marlies will head to the power play for the second time, looking to see if they can even things up in this hockey game. And you go back to yesterday, the Marlies had 5 power play opportunities, including 52-second 5-on-3, and they came up empty. And as a result, that 5-2 loss yesterday, they need their power play to get working for them here today.
Rosen finding Bracco down low. McMaster got to get it right back to Bracco. It hopped on him a little bit, and now he gets some support from Tanner McMaster. Back out it comes. McMaster at the blue line. They'll have to find some space to get back on side as Rosen comes back in front of Kaskisuo, who's got a keen eye to it. And now across the line, Carcone. Mueller finding Bracco at the line. Rosen. He'll find Jeremy Bracco again. Hash marks out front. He was looking for McMaster to get a sharper tip on that as it comes back to Rosen again. Olofsson right with him. Playing the entire game, Olofsson, as a rookie here in the league. On the PK. Here's Mueller looking out front. He caught Rosen off the foot. That's probably the last place he wanted to get hit. 4:34 left to go here in the first period. They're going to change out some parts here on the power play. Less than a minute to go.
It's amazing, guys, isn't it? You don't have time anymore in the power play to bobble the puck because the penalty killers are just so aggressive these days, and one bad pass or it's just off a little bit or you don't catch it a little bit, it could end up all the way down the ice. Just the way the coaches coach these days is so aggressive on the penalty kill.
Well, you think of the video that the coaching staffs employ each and every day to dissect each other's power plays and figure out ways and when they can pressure, and they make no mistakes about that.
Here's Engvall with it as he tried to give it back up at the line and has to poke it around behind. Elena, boy, he got squeezed along the boards as Engvall doing some dancing along the boards. Up high, Sandin quickly finding Timashov, draws in, back up. Sandin hangs on, shoots, and Rasmus Sandin, he scored from there a couple of times this season. Here's Timashov looking back over for Engvall. The penalty has expired. Sandin back over. Timashov trying to find Engvall again, but he could not connect. Back Smith comes with it, fresh out of the penalty box. Shoots, stopped by Kaskisuo, and he swallows it up as well. 3:14 left to go in the first period.
C.J. Smith there with a little tap with his skate on the Marlies goaltender as well as he went by, just to make sure he knew he was there.
Well, he's a hard guy to ignore for these Rochester Americans. He has been up and back a couple of times, and little kick. Hello.
He got lucky on that one, basically. That's what he's saying. Let him know he's there.
Asplund comes in to face Josh Juris. On the ground and picked up by Loverde. Up and out. Molino gives it a poke, but Morgan's right there. Pick it off. Pooley across the line. And Juris looked for sure like he was back on side. But that's not how they saw it.
It's one of those plays where you got the official right on the line, but I thought Josh Juris came back as well. As the puck goes in first, Juris exits the zone, and Pooley comes in across, and that is not offside, but not going to change it up now.
No, nobody's going to change their mind on that. They'll just have to live with it. Here's Veo and Juris. And Juris wins it back as Alexi sends it right back in. Tennyson poke back behind the goal. Pooley out front, centering shot, and good opportunity, but Wedgwood stands his ground. He has been terrific in this series with the Toronto Marlies. 6 games. This is the 6th game. And final one they'll play in the regular season, though they look destined to play each other in the playoffs. Back onto Bracco's stick as he sends it down into the corner. Over on the far side, Mueller pops up, drops down, and Mayo exits the zone. Just played in by Cornell, and Marlies will get a chance here to get some speed to it.
Josh Juris, a former Calgary Flame, and my husband, the assistant general manager there, and one of his roles is to be in charge of the Stockton Heat. So I don't get a chance to watch too much AHL hockey, but because he has to watch it when he's home, I have had a chance to see a lot of the games, but mostly out west.
Well, and that is one of the things that I think everybody in the league would agree they'd like to see more of, just a little bit more cross-conference play between the Western and the Eastern Conference. The Marlies, of course, were out west for a few years. They started out east, but they've won both the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. The only team in the league that's done that. Lift it back into the zone with 1:30 left to go. McWilliam trying to work it back out. Elenak, Borgen right on top of him. Carcone picks it up, sends it high. Liljegren's got Sandin with him now, as Sandin puts it back up. And Carcone, he's got to be pretty good with it. He sent it outside the line. The Marlies will regroup. They've done a good job hanging on to the puck. Liljegren. And he sends it into the corner. A little dig there by McMaster. Last minute of play here as Liljegren to the goal. Off the pads and into the corner again as Liljegren comes back to it. Nice little no-look. Right back out. Sandin fighting off Smith and gives him a little bit of a bite of the elbow.
I like it. Protect yourself, and that's a sneaky little play by Sandin for sure.
That's a surprise that you would like it for sure. I like it too, though. I think any player likes it, right? Like, you like the physical stuff. As long as the refs allow it to go both ways, it's all good.
Absolutely.
Here's Timashov back through the middle. 20 seconds left to go. The Marlies trying to manufacture a chance here to tie it up in the late first period. Juris got his man tripped up a little bit as it comes back to Loverde toward the goal, but wide. Little contact point there into the corner. The Amerks will be happy to see the clock tick here, and in fact they will. Well, after 20 minutes of play, the Toronto Marlies and the Rochester Americans at it again, 1-0 as the Amerks lead on the Asplund goal. We'll be back with the intermission in just a moment right here on Leafs Nation Network. Well, the first period, the Toronto Marlies came out strong, but some big efforts from the Amerks put them up 1-0.
Well, Toronto on a power play, and the goaltender, Kaskisuo, comes out and plays it and almost ends up in the back of their net. And it's Rochester who would get on the board first with tremendous three-way passing play. And Asplund is the guy that ends up with the puck the last to put past Kaskisuo for a 1-0 advantage. A couple of big hits in this period, and Andrew McWilliam lowers the boom on Adam Brooks. And Brooks would leave the game after that hit and didn't come back before the end of the first period. So it'll be interesting to see. We'll keep our eye on whether he makes it back for period number 2 when we come back.
Well, the Toronto Marlies and the Rochester Americans are playing their 6th game of the season. Usually they go far more than that, but 6 will be it and done. We'll be back. Callie Rosen back in the lineup for the Toronto Marlies. He got a shot off the foot in Syracuse and finds himself on the disabled list there for a little bit and gets back into it. Boy, he was hopping to get back into this one, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, no question about it. 12 games missed with that bad foot, and I'm sure an opportunity to play in the National Hockey League as well with that injury, where I think they were looking to call him up to get him some opportunities at the National Hockey League level again with the Maple Leafs. But he left with that injury, first in defenseman scoring with 7 goals and 44 points, and he has dropped to 5th place in that ranking, but I really think that he's a terrific addition to this hockey club, and I know that Sheldon Keefe and his staff are real happy to get him back in the lineup to help them get back on track here today.
How long do they have him? I see the big boss is in the building here today, Kyle Dubas, and I also see Mike Babcock down the row here for the Toronto Maple Leafs and Toronto Marlies. As you take a look, looking in on what the Marlies have, what the Maple Leafs can use. Kyle Dubas on the left there, and Mike Babcock in the middle, and Brandon Pridham on the right side. Marlies setting up here, 6 seconds in. Rosen picks it up at the blue line toward the goal, and a little contact with the goaltender from Chris Mueller. Wedgwood throws the head back.
Catches Wedgwood in the head as he makes that save, and the official right there, but no call made. They're going to play on.
Rosen and Loverde setting up. Sandin has done a pretty good job with Loverde this season. Played a lot of games with him. Here comes Rasmus Sandin onto the ice now. He's playing with Timothy Liljegren, 2 number 1 draft picks.
Had his 8-game streak snapped yesterday as he didn't register a point, and that 12 points in 8 games, 11 assists in that 8-game span too, both rookie records and defenseman records. So great job by the youngster who turned 19 a couple of weeks ago and is really starting to feel comfortable and be that general that everybody thinks he's going to be on the ice.
Oh, he's a special player. Back up and out it goes. Engvall getting after. No icing on this. And the linesman trips up, and the folks right in front of him were right behind him and thought that was all right. Long pass up ahead. Asplund, who has the goal here in this game. 1-0. Engvall across the line, knocked off his stick. Elena tried to get to it. Timashov picks it up, steps by one, and Wayne Simpson, and Doherty goes back, but Wedgwood will play it along. Over the far side, Remy Ellie, Baptiste right on top of it. It comes loose. Timashov, Baptiste trying to get his stick loose. Back over Rosen toward the goal, and on an odd angle, that one is picked up by Scott Wedgwood. Well, we talk about how good Scott Wedgwood has been this year for Rochester as well, coming off a year of injury. And
26th victory in the game yesterday here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum as the Marlies looking to tie things up. Dmitry Timashov spots Callie Rosen moving in from that left point, and then Rosen has all kinds of traffic going to the goal, so he fires it into Wedgwood, and Wedgwood does the right thing and getting it in his glove to not allow a rebound and a second opportunity. You got a couple of Marlies bearing down at the top of the blue paint.
Here's Bracco toward the goal, and that one off the goaltender. Back into the corner, Mueller. Timashov rounding out this line now. Sheldon Keefe, no doubt, has to do a little bit of creative work as Bracco sends it back out. Nice little pass. Rosen toward the goal, and it's fought off by Wedgwood.
That's the perfect word, fought off by Wedgwood, as Rosen with a great shot there, and Wedgwood with all kinds of traffic. He battles to make that save.
Pass along, Loverde calling out as he breaks up a potential 2-on-1. Timashov back checked on the play. Simpson got to it. Crisculo Along to Remielli and across the line, but not far. Crisculo bangs it into the corner, and Sandin is able to get it to Tanner McMaster. Loverde up ice. Hard one, back up, and Loverde takes a shot at the end of the play, and he is hobbled. Coming back, here's Pooley, shoots, scores! Scott Pooley, an absolute rip into the goal to beat Wedgwood and tie it up at 1 apiece.
Well, a big goal by Scott Pooley, injected into the lineup here today. Just his 6th game here in the American Hockey League, and a 26-goal scorer in the ECHL this year with the Newfoundland Growlers. And Molino sends the pass to Sandin, and then Sandin spots Pooley coming late, and he's that right shot down the left side, and he's going to pick up this puck on the fly, and he snaps it between the legs of the goaltender, Scott Wedgwood, and the Toronto Marlies have evened this game up at 1 apiece. 16:57 to play here in period number 2.
Scott Pooley, his first goal for the Marlies this year. 3 minutes and 3 seconds into the second period. And now Engvall is drawing a little bit of anger out of Taylor Lear. And the two of them.
Scott Pooley played 5 games for the Marlies last year after his season with Holy Cross ended, and he had a goal in those 5 games, but he's had a terrific year in the ECHL. 26 goals, 46 points in 55 games, so he knows how to find the back of the net. 18 goals last year at the NCAA level as well.
Helena. And this seemed to have put some anger into the game for the Rochester Americans. It's Taylor Lear plays it along. Liljegren cuts him off as Sandin comes back to it. Reverses it back. Liljegren steps in front of his goaltender and then plays it along to Carcone. Down the right side, drops it back. Carcone backs in. Elenuk will move it along. Engvall lets it go, or does he? He just kind of hangs on along the near boards enough. Rubens comes down to investigate. Elenuk in the mix as well. And it pops out, and Oleksy goes back for it. And now the Marlies, Vincent Loverde has gone down the tunnel and to the room. He was hit behind the play. Back through the middle. A costly game here on a Sunday afternoon for the Toronto Marlies. Adam Brooks will not return to the hockey game. Cascasulo jumps on top of that one, and now Vincent Loverde went down the tunnel. So down a forward, down a defenseman. I'm going to take a look at what happens to Vincent Loverde behind the play. I just happened to look back.
Well, Vincent Loverde has been a guy that you can count on
Number 5.
each and every night. And he gets body checked by Yannick Veilleux in front of his own net there at the top of the crease, and he gets shaken up as he looks like he took it on the lower, on one of his legs as Veilleux coming in to finish his check, and you hope he's going to be okay, and if he's got a chance to get back, you know he will.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's an old school guy.
Yeah, I don't know what level sandpaper that is, but it's below 80. I'll tell you that. Here's Asplund. Back up the line and out. It's flipped right back in by McWilliam. Not out.
Oh, they say it stayed in.
Wow, if that one stayed in. Here's Timoshaw. Rosen plays it to the far side. Back up at the line. Blocked. In the way of it, Juris, and it is pulled back off the wall, and Baptiste able to find Juris. He runs into some trouble, but Timoshaw high off the window. Picked off the wall by Jeremy Bracco. He takes a shot. Bracco right back to it. Doherty trying to rub him out. Juris back up high, finding Sandin toward the goal, and that one skips off wide, but not by much. Now behind Oleksy. Waiting on it. Tried to play it back out to maybe Mueller. But he comes right back out front. Timoshaw didn't get a shot away. Back over. Bracco scores! Bracco with a blast as Mueller finds him. And he had the space, and that always means danger.
Well, Jeremy Bracco's usually on the opposite ends of things, feeding the puck to Chris Mueller because he's got 29 goals on the year. But Jeremy Bracco this time, he opens up and Chris Mueller finds him. And the 19th goal of the year for Jeremy Bracco has given the Toronto Marlies the lead for the first time in the hockey game as he unleashes a terrific slap shot, one-timer, short side over the blocking glove of Scott Wedgwood. And the Toronto Marlies have grabbed the lead for the first time in this hockey game. And
that
the bench for the Marlies pretty pumped up after they've got back-to-back goals to get back the lead here in this game.
That ties him for the most points in a 76-game season as a Toronto Marlie with T.J. Brennan.
Well, and coming into this game, he was tied for the league lead here in the American Hockey League in points. And now his 19th goal might set him by himself.
There's Chris Gulo coming back. Remy Ellie following up the play. Boy, Remy Ellie choosing to find the trailer on the play. It's picked up by Carcone. Round behind for Rubens. Simpson there to move it quickly, and it is gathered in by Rasmus Sandin. Along for Carcone again, off the wall to Engvall, and it is Rubens across the line. He's got Eleanor going to the goal. Engvall back in Rubens, and knocked down at the side of the goal was Eleanor. That looks like a tall order, actually. Literally. Shot, blistering one, just wide from Rosen. Back in, Pooley looking for his second. Here's Rosen again, down into the corner. Pooley picks it up. McMaster off to Molino. Molino steps out, sends one plunking off the iron. And now McMaster and Molino try to work back toward the goal, send it to the line. Rosen off the wall toward the goal. It goes off the boots of Simpson and back out. Liljegren will retreat and then carry it right back. He and Rosen up ahead for Pooley. He's got Molino right with him. Backhander trying to get sneaky on it was Scott Pooley. Back in for Molino and McMaster. Pooley right at the side of the goal taking some punishment. McMaster turns around. He wanted the shot, but Lear got his stick on it. Now McMaster again. Lear back up, drops, and it is cleared back out. Dalton Smith out on the ice. Comes back to Rosen. He carries it across the line. Callie Rosen with speed and a backhander. Picked up Timoshoff out front. He tried to find Jeremy Bracco. Right back the other way come the Rochester Americans. 2-1. The score is 2 goals by Toronto in this second period. Back up at the line. That one knocked down. Mueller works past one with Timoshoff now. Over the line and in. Mueller will go after it. As Hickey right there, and Mueller puts a hit on him. Back up it comes. A nice little move there by Oleksy, knocking C.J. Smith to the ice. All the way back in. Hutch, as Kaskasuo plays that one, it is back up. Nick Baptiste played out front. Sandin trying to break it up, and he does on the second effort get the shaft of his stick in the way of a cross ice pass. O'Regan was looking for it. Now Sandin and Olofsson exchange pleasantries.
Well, Rasmus Sandin with an assist in this second period to get back on the board offensively, and then you see some of his defensive work. Good stick in the lane, not on just one occasion but twice in that same sequence. And his ability and his quickness sets him apart of so many defensemen I can talk about. And I just love the fact that he uses his speed and then gets his stick in the lane, and that's a tough thing to teach a young player.
It's a big part of what happens here. Baptiste moving it along and across the line. Juris, he's got help. Timoshoff trying to get it off the wall. He's got 3 hammers with him, and a lot of Marlies loose. Liljegren cross ice. That one is cut off, and Olofsson works back. Liljegren in front of him. He caught an edge there, and back out. It comes off the goaltender, Kaskasuo. As Liljegren kind of caught a sharper edge than he thought he might. Engvall racing away, trying to get through Simpson and Ellie. Baptiste coming to the bench. Didn't see that play coming in behind him. Back up Doherty across the line. He's got Ellie going to the goal. Rebound and knocked away Back up Simpson. Some good chances on second efforts, but they haven't been able to bury one. Off the wall, catches an edge. Carcone tried to get to it. He's knocked down. Doherty goes down. And across the line, Engvall is offside with 10:13 left to go. Jeremy Bracco has tied the Marlies single season record in points. Jeremy Bracco has moved into, this is an interesting stat because Stapleton puts up 79 in an 80-game season. Bracco and Brennan, Abbott and Brennan again all do it in 76-game seasons. So Jeremy Bracco holding the record along with TJ Brennan for points in a single season in 76 games.
Yeah, the league went from an 80-game league to 76.
Yeah.
And so the record is going to be a little different, but he's got an opportunity to break the record no matter how many games.
Yeah, which Spencer Abbott had. He had 52 assists. He did it in a 76-game schedule, but it didn't matter. It was more than anybody had scored in an 80-game schedule. So Jeremy Bracco looking to own that title outright, no doubt, as we are nearly halfway into this hockey game. What a season that Jeremy Bracco has had.
Well, I'll tell you, it's amazing how, some youngsters in their first year pro, they just try to find their way, and they bring them along slowly. And now in year two, it's like, okay, kid, we need you to take that next step. Boy, has he ever taken that step. It's been unbelievable. And fun to watch him mature and turn into the kind of player that they thought he was going to be when they drafted him in the second round in 2015.
Oleksy trying to play it back up the board. Says Borgen and Simpson relieving of the puck. Carcone trying to achieve the same back out front. And a great pass out front to McWilliam. Couldn't finish on that one as it's played back over to the wall. Put back to the dot. Crisculo lets one fly, but it's off into the corner. Rosen back to it. And Kaskisuo, he's had enough. He didn't like the way that was all set up, so he just reeled it in and hung on to it with 9:18 left to go in the second period.
Well, Kaskisuo with a couple things of scrambling to get the puck, but earlier in that shift, C.J. Smith had the puck down below the goal line. He's trying to go to the far side, and I think through the blue paint, to me, the goaltender's job is to make sure that puck doesn't get through clean, and Kaskisuo did a great job of getting his stick in the lane and prevented that puck from getting across because it might end up in the back of the net. So him sharpening up and doing those little things here in the second period to allow his team to stay with this 2-1 advantage.
Well, he hasn't faced many shots in this period, only 3 knocked away. The Marlies have taken 8. That's Scott Wedgwood, had success a couple of times. Taylor Lear lifts it in. Liljegren comes back to it. Lear fights him for the puck, and Mueller picks it up and sends it right back into their feet. Now waiting for that one to crawl out of the house. They back up a little bit. Mueller gives it another tap, and it comes right back up. Hickey unleashes another one. Boy, he's got a shot. Here's Timashon. Giving it back to Mueller and across the line. Bracco trying to get back to it. Keeps it in, but only briefly. Marlies make a change as Pooley got a touch on it, and it hops into the bench of the Rochester Americans. Now the Toronto Marlies down 1-0 after 20 are up 2-1.
Well, the Toronto Marlies have had their fair share of injuries. There's no doubt about it. And a couple more in this one as Andrew McWilliam in the first period unloads on Adam Brooks. And he heads to the locker room after the hit, and he hasn't come out for the second period. Now here in the second period of play, after making a pass to try to exit the zone, Yannick Veilleux finishes his check and catches Vincent Laverde of the Toronto Marlies. He limps off and goes to the locker room, and he will not be back as well. So Coach Sheldon Keefe, who just got Callie Rosen back here today, loses another defenseman in Adam Brooks, who to me has been playing some terrific hockey, no doubt about it. 4 goals, 7 points in his last 6 games coming into today's action. That'll be a big blow to this hockey club if he's out for any extended period of time.
Both players will not come back, according to the Toronto Marlies, in today's action. Nice little hit there by Timoshoff as it comes back up to the line and out. Played back in, but offside as it hit Baptiste as he was trying to exit the zone. Take a look at what the Marlies have left. Now, this happens in a situation where the Marlies actually have until Friday off, which then they will face the Utica Comets. They'll get another one against the Comets a week later. They've got a couple against Belleville, a dozen games they played against Belleville this year, and then one against Hershey, Laval, and you see that the time is dwindling and the playoffs are not just on the horizon. The sun's up and it's starting a new day. As the
8 games after today.
Yep, the Marlies
4 home, 4 away.
Will face what looks to be as they try to get themselves into a playoff spot for sure and clinch. Here's Carcone down the left side. It would be a tall order for anyone to take over that spot, not the third spot necessarily, but find themselves into the playoffs. It would have to be a complete collapse by the Toronto Marlies and the Belleville Senators, and a perfect record by the folks underneath them. Here's Engvall cutting back in, shoots, score! Here Engvall, low and in, and Engvall making some noise here as he is trying to find his way to the 20-goal mark. He is 18 now.
Well, Pierre Engvall, this is a huge goal with 7:17 to play here in the second to give the Marlies a 2-goal advantage. But it starts skating out of the zone is Michael Carcone. He spots Engvall at the line, and then look at the space that Engvall gets when he picks up this puck as the Rochester Americans get caught backing in front of Scott Wedgwood, and then he just rifles a terrific little snapshot, and Engvall's second goal in his last 4 games has staked the Marlies to a 3-1 advantage here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum.
Molino is back in and trying to get to that one. Molino again. Picked up by Baptiste. Pride out of the corner. Juris back out front. He fights his way to the puck and comes back to Lilligren. Cross ice. Sandin. West eases it back into the far corner. Molino there to get his stick on it. Juris steps off the boards. He tried to cut back toward the goal. Crisculo back to it. And now Doherty gets some attention. Drops in front of Timoshoff. And a hand pass is called with 6:35 remaining in the second period.
Well, Toronto, you go back to the game yesterday, they scored first and then they allowed Rochester to take a 2-1 lead. They battled back to tie it at 2 after 40 minutes of play. But in the third period, Rochester, with back-to-back goals in 3 minutes and 26 seconds span, broke the game open. And here, the Toronto Marlies scored 2 goals in 2 minutes and 30 seconds to take a 2-1 lead, and now have extended it to a 3-1 advantage here on home ice as they're looking to see if they can get back to just a 3-point gap between themselves and the Rochester Americans.
Back in, Rosen goes after it. Timoshoff sends it back out. Jeremy Bracco. Here's Porter back out of the corner as he looks up with 6 minutes to go. That got by everybody. Kaskasuo plays it off and back up the wall. McMaster cross ice. Stepping into it is Rubens. He's got some reach. He's got some speed, and now he works to get it back out of the corner with Tanner McMaster. Comes back up. Lilligren from distance moves it back over to Pooley. He cuts back in. He tries the backhander to center it, and right back to Lilligren. Pooley again. This time it comes to Engvall from behind the goal. Up high. Sandin again. McMaster steps in, cuts it off. Asplund right there with it. McMaster trying to get loose. Pooley knocked down. McMaster finally does get loose. He thought he had Engvall. Back to the line. Lilligren. Go do some more work. That's what Lilligren asks as it comes back to McMaster again. Asplund just tries to get it out, and he does, as they're going to have to make a change. Sandin has Pooley, and across the line with Engvall. Mueller comes back out. Those two have been out there a while now. O'Regan works in quick against Sandin, but he keeps him to the outside. Centering pass. And Olofsson, who buried 2 yesterday, didn't get a chance on that one.
Yeah, Olofsson, the 27 goal man, he's the guy you don't want to give the puck to cruising down Main Street, as he couldn't handle it after it was right on the tape.
Sandin up the wall. Mueller trying to jam it back out. Now Porter looks for space. Doherty toward the goal, and a stick save. We'll dig along the wall. Rosen and Porter locked up. Olofsson in there with Oleksy. Doherty to the far side toward the goal. Kaskasuo just directs it aside. Oleksy again back up for Doherty one more time. Works the blue line. Hard shot. Hickey. Boy, he's got that hard shot. He got to find a little success as Carcone. And Rosen with 3:45 left to play. Criscuolo off the boards. Remi Elie out front. Tried to get the shot away, but he is knocked to the ice by Carcone. Criscuolo back out on the second chance by Elie. Simpson again out of the corner. Here's Elie again. It hops over his stick. Borgen lets one go toward the goal. Knocked down. Oleksy has been out there a while. And now comes Rosen to it. Taken away again. Back up the line. This crew has found itself into the tired zone. Back over Elie toward the goal. Knocked down. Oleksy throws a golf swing at it. Trying to get it back out. Cutting back toward the goal. Hangs on. Waits. Back up. Borgen. He's got room. The Amerks have got the Marlies in a great spot if they can get there. Bracco picks it up. And Mueller comes away with it and gets it back out as Carcone just barely gets to the bench. Back out Oleksy. He's going to hang on and then just lift it back down the ice. And they're going to make the changes.
Second period long change. Hard for the Marlies to get fresh bodies out there, but they finally get it deep and a wholesale change gets to the bench.
Well, Remi Elie upended Chris Mueller away from the puck, but no call as the fresh legs get out. Here's Timashov. Elie is getting off as he was out that entire time, but he's on offense. That's not easy either. Nathan Pache down into the corner. Amherst with some heavy pressure here in the late second period as they have owned the zone here on the Toronto Marlies. Getting a little chip back up and out. Timashov. Tennyson comes back and cuts him off from it. They'll make another change. As the Amerks have really controlled the pace of play and the puck in the last 5 minutes of this second period. Rubens trying to get back to it. Baptiste was chasing off the wall. Olofsson trying to find the speed shot. Side of the goal. Pops back out. Rubens tracked it down and he plays it off the wall but not out. O'Regan behind the goal. Olofsson picks it up there. Along the near side and McMaster. They take it from him. O'Regan looks out front, takes a shot on goal, and it dances at the side of the goal. Asplund recovers it. Nick Baptiste trying to get to it, and it's played out by McMaster, or is it? No, he gets it to Engvall, who does get it up and out. And back, and right back in come the Rochester Americans. Olofsson cutting to the goal and then is held back off of it. Back up at the line. McWilliam, long shot out the side of the goal and a miss, a complete miss. And back the other way. Baptiste didn't have the legs to go after it. Borgen came screaming back after he got the chance at the side of the goal, and it's offside. 43.2 seconds left to go here in the second period, and the Marlies on their heels.
Well, the Toronto Marlies are on their heels as the Rochester Americans, the last 5 minutes after going down 3-1, have really picked up their pace, and their golden opportunity to cut into the lead as McWilliams misses the net, but his defense partner, William Borgen, gets in on the play, and he's got an opportunity with an open goal, and you see him look skyward as he knows he misses the opportunity to cut into the 2-goal advantage for Toronto. but he misses, and we're going to continue to play on with 43.2 seconds to play in the period, and Toronto continues to lead 3-1.
The break could not have come at a better time.
Exactly.
Juris and Chris Kulo just outside the Marlies blue line. One back by Rochester. McWilliam pounds one into the corner. Kaskasuo plays it there, and then off to Sandin. Lifts it up to the line. Here's Borgen in tight. Close shot. And that one hits metal.
Wow. Wayne Simpson with the opportunity.
Skips
the
off.
Marlies again with a turnover. Almost costs him here as the period gets ready to close.
Ramielli back up the line. Borgen down into the corner. Rosen picking it up and playing it back to Timashov. And now Dmytro Timashov trying to get it up and out. It gets by everybody, and no icing on this play. McWilliam comes back behind his own goal, and this should do it. After 40 minutes of play, the Toronto Marlies hold a 3-1 lead on the Rochester Americans. They have come back and come back strong, but they held it off at the end, Bob.
Well, but at the end of it all, you found yourself in a 1-0 disadvantage after period number 1. In the second period, they put their foot on the gas pedal. They get 3 even-strength goals, but yet Rochester won't go away quietly for sure, but the Marlies with a 2-goal advantage right where they want to be here on home ice after 40 minutes.
Let's go down rinkside to Kelsey, standing by with Victor Olofsson.
Thanks, Todd. Victor, 3 points for you against the Marlies this weekend, 2 goals yesterday and the assist today. What's been clicking for your offense against this team?
I think we've been clicking as a line. We've been playing really well these last few games here, so we just got to continue with that.
This is your 3rd game in a 3-3. How do you push through your fatigue and make a push in this final frame?
I mean, you got to eat well, you got to sleep well. It's of course it's tough, but it's the same for everyone. So it's been going pretty good.
Thank you. Good luck in the 3rd. After 40 minutes of play, the Marlies have found themselves up 3-1. The Americans, they've got 23 shots on net and just 1 goal. Marlies, they're sitting at 15 shots. We'll be back with second intermission after the break.
A big second period is exactly what the Marlies needed.
No question about it. Rasmus Sandin with a terrific pass to Scott Pooley, and he makes no mistake scoring his first American Hockey League goal this season. And it's a tie hockey game at 1 apiece. And then Jeremy Bracco, 2 minutes and 30 seconds later, gets the feed from Chris Mueller and the one-timer over the shoulder of Scott Wedgwood. It's a 2-1 Toronto advantage, and then before the second period ended, an excellent individual effort by Pierre Engvall to back off the defenders of the Rochester American. He snaps his 18th goal of the season past Wedgwood, and it's a 3-1 advantage as we get set for puck drop in period number 3.
Boy, Pierre Engvall sure would like to get those next 2 goals. He'd be the 4th Toronto Marley rookie to do so if he did. Josh Levo was the first.
Connor Brown.
And Connor Brown still has the most, 23 in a season. Yep. And then Andreas Janssen.
21.
Kept in. Borgen. As he steps out and sends it up to center. C.J. Smith. Marley's going to have to find a way to hang on to the puck and get some business done of their own. This is not a team that you can, I think, just hold on to this lead. Timashov waits, plays it in, and then he just tried to glide one toward the goaltender. Back out, Timashov, shot, scores!
Wow. That was a laser beam by Dmytro Timashov to get the Marlies a 3-goal advantage. Just, wow. 38 seconds into period number 3. And it was about to say you can't sit on it, and that's not the way to go about things, but they just throw it towards the goal. Wedgwood kicks it aside, but picking up the loose puck is Baptiste, and he spots Timashov in the high slot onto that right hash mark, and he gets this puck off the skate and then absolutely snaps it up and over top of the glove of Wedgwood, and the Toronto Marlies have gotten themselves a 4-1 advantage on the goal by Timashov, who now has 13 on the season, and he is
career year.
Finally really getting his game back on track. He was scoring goals because he was shooting the puck. And all of a sudden in the last couple of weeks here, he's gotten back to that pass-first mentality.
Right.
And they're off the skate onto the stick, and he just wires it. And a 3-goal lead for Toronto looks good on them.
It got in there so quick and out. Juris thought he had it on the second attempt. He didn't know if it went in or not. And so he was going to make no mistake on that, as we got a goaltending change for the Rochester Americans. Wilcox into the game now, and Scott Wedgwood out after a 4-goal against game.
Yeah, 4 goals on 18 shots.
Back up as Chris Taylor came back with Wedgwood today. He played him yesterday. Wilcox played on Friday night against Cleveland. Lossack came in back out front. Olofsson. Boy, that one ended up right on his stick, but he sent it wide. Back up Carcone. And right back out it goes. The Marlies and the Emirates put new bodies out. Back off the boards, Chris Skulo. He thought he missed that one, and he did. Here's Timashov coming back with it again, playing it along to Rubens. Off the wall, Rubens at the goal. Timashov was coming back as Wilcox had a piece of it, and Timashov was coming in on top of it. Played back into the near corner. Liljegren back, Bracco off the wall. It comes right to Rubens as Timashov stumbled on it. Rubens back out, hoping to find Mueller. It pops up into the second row here. Christian Rubens been a good player as he jumped in on defense.
I like what I've seen from Christian, no doubt about it. And, spent the last couple of years with Medicine Hat Tigers of the Western Hockey League, and 56 games this year with the Newfoundland Growlers. And, 2 goals, 18 points, but a plus 17. And that's something that you like to inject in your lineup. And he's done a real terrific job here in the American Hockey League as he takes that next step. Just 7 games so far. This being his 8th. But he's played very well.
Lear got a hit here as he was looking to get a pass, and Rasmus Sandin got a piece of him, knocked him down. And Sandin is going to go to the penalty box here, and the Rochester Americans are going to get a chance on the power play. They have not had one here today.
Well, we're going to get a look at this in the neutral zone, and Lear is, coming up the ice, and Sandin with a little shot there, and that's the second time he's delivered a little bit of a blow to the opposition. And you know what? I like the fact that he's willing to, protect himself when the opposition's getting a little tight. And with a 3-goal advantage, Rochester will head to the power play looking to see if they can get back on track and find themselves back in this game as they now trail by 3.
Well, Chris Taylor, I think, wants 4 minutes on this, and still lawyering up Kevin Porter, Chris Mueller with Terry Koharski, and 2 is all they're going to get on that. He's incredulous, Chris Taylor. You can read the belief he has currently in the officiating on his face. Here is Juris and O'Regan as the Rochester Americans get a first chance on the power play. Their road power play has put up some exceptional numbers so far this season.
Yeah, they were 0 for 3 yesterday afternoon, but they would like to try to get back in this game with their power play. As you said, it's been terrific on the road all year long.
24.1%. Smith back through the middle, drops it back as Olofsson comes to it. Across the line. Takes a funny hop off the end boards, actually, and it is up to the line, but not out. C.J. Smith saw that coming. Here's Asplund on the far side. He's got Remieli, misfires on it, and Alexei tried to get right back to it. Here's Smith again. Asplund, side of the goal, back out front. Shot wide of the mark from Smith. And he fumbles it at the line. He has to come back on it. Engvall tried to give him a little touch there as that one got sticky in the snow. Asplund over to the far side. Tennyson back in. Kaskasuo plays it to Liljegren. Round behind the goal. Rosen steps to it, off the boards and out, and it'll be picked up by Engvall. He cuts back to the middle, and then he decides he's just going to wander it back to Liljegren as well. Timothy Liljegren back up and into the corner. Tennyson's got Timashov right there. He's got the goal that made it 4-1. Little dig off the wall. Simpson picks it up. Timashov lost his stick, so recovers nicely. And now Porter across the line, looked offside, wasn't. Back to the near side it comes. Lear. He was the one who got knocked down, and they wanted 4 minutes on. He's on the power play. Tennyson back over, out front, glances off of Kaskasuo. Porter again back up high. Tennyson working it. 10 seconds left to go in the power play, and that one is picked up and cleared at the line. And the Marlies will make changes as Baptiste takes a look. And Sandin is ready to step back out, and he does. And the Marlies kill off the only power play the Rochester Americans have picked up.
Coming into this game, 31 of the last 32 power play attempts for the opposition, the Marlies have killed off over the course of the last 10 games. And I'll tell you, their penalty killers have gotten some confidence in them going right now big time.
Hard shot hits the side of the goal. Dalton Smith to it. Elena comes up. He tries to chip it back out. He threw a hand waving at it, and it comes right back to Steve Oleksy. Passed up through the middle, knocked down by Elena. And how is that knocked down by Elena on the high stick and then called icing?
Yeah, I think we're going to have a face-off at center ice. There's been a mistake, no doubt about it, as they called the high stick. And it is going to be an opportunity as the Marlies trying to clear the puck, and Oleksy shoots it and knocked down by two different Marley players inside across the center ice red line, so it should certainly have been waved off. And
it was.
We go back to the linesman having a bit of a rough day, where look at what transpired in the first period there on that clearly not offside, in which they called offside. But hey, all's good here in Marley land as they have a 3-goal advantage here in period number 3.
Wilcox wanted to play that one, but he could not. Carcone was coming in hard after him. He took over after Scott Wedgwood gave up 4 goals on 18 shots. He's faced 2 since he's come in.
Second year with the Rochester Americans is Wilcox, and I think he just signed a contract extension last week for the Buffalo Sabres. So
Olofsson cutting in, pass Sandin, backhand, stop. And Sandin picks it up again. Olofsson with some nice speed.
Oh,
and what
boy.
a great chance.
Yeah, Olofsson goes to the backhand, and I believe it hits the pipe.
Here's O'Regan getting in close, and Kaskasuo picks it up and he plays it on. It looked like he wanted to get the whistle, but he got the word.
Standing behind the net telling him to move it because there was no Rochester player in the vicinity.
Laid down into the corner, but Bracco was not across the red line when he flipped it down there and didn't have the weight quite right.
Well, the Toronto Marlies had scored 4 goals in this game after they were trailing 1-0 after the first period of play. And Bracco gets the second one, and then Pierre Engvall makes it a 3-1 advantage after 40 minutes. And then right early here in period number 3, Dmytro Timashov gets his 13th, and it's a 4-1 lead for the Toronto Marlies, and all 4 goals at 5-on-5, and that's something that Sheldon Keefe spoke of.
Shot off the back of the goaltender by Smith and in. Cuts the lead 4-2. Lots of time here for a team like the Rochester Americans.
Well, and C.J. Smith, opportunistic, no question about it, and his 25th goal of the year has cut the advantage to a 2-goal game here in Rochester, still with 13:53 to go. A play around the wall that gets held in and just thrown back behind the goal, and it goes down off of Marley's stick, and it gets sort of deadened, and the puck is spinning, and C.J. Smith just throws it towards the goal. It goes off Kaskisuo's back before he can get up to the goal post, and it gets in behind the Toronto goaltender, and just like that, 3-goal advantage gets cut to 2, and some new life to the legs of the Rochester Americans.
And lots of time as well. Off the draw, one back by Elena. He gets it back from Oleksiy. It's across the line. He's way over and offside, but they touch up as Porter sends a backhander and in. Kaskisuo plays that, and he puts Oleksiy into a little bit of a situation as Elena puts it into some open ice. Rubens up through the middle, across the line, Engvall. There goes Baptiste after it. Into the corner, Baptiste and Engvall trying to pry it off, but it sends down the ice as Rosen comes back to it. Calle Rosen works his way back through the middle onto the stick here of Elena. Right off. McWilliam picks it up and back through the middle. Liljegren trying to find Bracco. It dropped behind him as McWilliam picks it up, and now Liljegren cross ice needing Rosen. Mueller calling for it. Here's Bracco. Back to Mueller, but it's knocked down by Simpson. Out Tanner McMaster with this crew. Adam Brooks injured earlier in the game. Rubens. Brooks' family down, his mom and dad, that cross ice nearly right in the wheelhouse there for Ellie as they get it back across the line. Long pass trying to stretch things out, lifted into the crowd. And down the concourse. 12:23 left to go in the third period as C.J. Smith cuts the lead to 2. Well, there's the rest of the Marlies calendar until the end of the regular season. So all those home games, you can stream those on the Maple Leafs app, wherever you happen to be with your mobile device. And we are back at it here at Coca-Cola Coliseum. And make contact. It did not. And they'll bring it back on the free ride all the way back into.
Get back to when we were talking about the 4 goals here today by the Toronto Marlies at 5-on-5, Todd. Sheldon Keefe saying yesterday before the game that they need to get more opportunities and more goals 5-on-5 because they've been relying too heavily on their power play. And they had 6 goals in 8 games 5-on-5, and now 6 goals in the last 2 games. So that's a positive sign here for Toronto as they continue to try and track down the Rochester Americans for that second spot in the North Division.
Well, and it won't be easy regardless of the outcome of this game. As we look at time dwindling, as we talked about with the teams that are behind the Marlies in the playoff race, Belleville and Cleveland. Cleveland now taking over 4th spot. But they are tied up in points. Cleveland has the tiebreaker. Back up it comes. Tennyson, long shot, and it skips off as Carcone comes back to it. Back up at the blue line. Some life in the skates here of the Rochester Americans. O'Regan tries to send it back out front. Carcone lifts it, and now here's Timashov. 2-on-1 back with Juris, evening it up. Tennyson, Timashov with the shot. It goes high. And right back the other way comes O'Regan. Quick back is Juris. He has skated a bit of a marathon here at the moment. Asplund down into the corner. Along the near wall, Olofsson in the mix as Carcone knocked down. Olofsson cuts back toward the goal. Shot, rebound. Timashov tried to get to it. Rosen plays it off into the corner. Olofsson.
That's a big save by Kaskisuo in that situation, and you know what, you just got to make them at the right time, and that was a real good timing by Kaskisuo to prevent Olofsson from cutting into the lead again.
Back along the near side and out. Hickey plays it back. Taylor Lear far side for Smith, and across the line it comes. A little shot by Oleksiy. As Engvall tries to get it up and out. It comes right back in, and Lear's out front, and it is blocked by Rosen. Breaking up the play, Calle Rosen. Liljegren again back out of the corner. Marley's caught in a situation now where they're chasing it a little bit. Elenuck trying to get it up. Here's Smith darting in again. Elenuck with the long stick able to knock it away. And Liljegren comes in on the backhand to move it back up the boards. Doesn't get that done. Rosen rides the ledge, and now Engvall will pick it up, and Baptiste will send it back out. They try to make changes. Turning back the Amherst. Doherty down the left side and across the line. Ellie is stepping across. Crisculo had to be good there. Bracco right back on it. Here's Molino down the left side. Mueller going to the goal. Molino the shot, and he runs into Wilcox, does Mueller. And right back they come.
Well, good chance by Molino there, and fighting off that opportunity and then having to take on Chris Mueller is the goalie Wilcox.
Now Griffin Molino comes in with a good opportunity from Jeremy Bracco as the Marlies remain on top 4-2.
Well, the Toronto Marlies continue to lead 4-2 here with 9:52 to play, and Casimir Kaskisuo with 27 saves in this one, and none bigger than that one on a opportunity by Victor Olsen, who scored a pair of goals yesterday afternoon, and then a real nice defensive play by Callie Rosen going down to block a passing attempt, which looked like it was a 2-on-1, and he gets down to make sure that puck doesn't get through to the Rochester player waiting at the top of the blue paint.
After the offside, Mueller and Crisculo just outside the Marlies blue line. One back, the Amherst Pace plays it in, and Sandin recovers it, playing it back up. Bracco, that pops up strangely, and now out front, shot side of the goal, misses. Liljegren comes back. Molino in there as well. Looking back out front was Simpson. Didn't have much to work with. Ellie parks himself, and now Crisculo. But that is into the glove. He's heading wide, and Kaskisuo taking no chances.
Yeah, at this point, you can make sure that when you're in doubt, you get the whistle. Don't allow Rochester to grab any kind of loose pucks to keep their play in the offensive zone rolling along. And you're nursing a 2-goal advantage here, but you would like to be able to gain possession here and start playing in the Rochester end and get pucks down below the goal line in their end and make them stay on their heels.
Long shot comes out the other side. Carconi back up. McWilliam to the goal. Asplund again back over O'Regan, and they are almost look like they're running a power play for the last couple of minutes as the Marlies try to get after it. Rubens and O'Regan. Elenuck fishes it out of there, and then it comes loose again. Back Elenuck to it. Little dig along the boards, and the blade of the stick of Carconi gets it loose. O'Regan comes away with it again. He's doing some great work in the corner to hang on to it. It comes back up high to the line. Lots of traffic. Back over out front. Shot. Olofsson knocked down and not cleared out by Elenuck. They back up again. High on the line. They make a change on the fly. Borgen stumbles, and it'll be Rosen who comes back to it. He plays it back up. It catches an edge and then catches some snow. And the Marlies are able to get in a change here. And so are the Rochester Americans. Tennyson lifts it in. Tries to get back after it. It's picked up by Baptiste. Over to Juris with a little room on the left side. It closes in, and Juris lost an edge, went down, and now 3-on-2. Back the other way. And back into it, Baptiste. He makes a good play to recover. And Timashov back across the line as Sandin going to the goal. Timashov back up high, unloading Oleksiy.
Nicholas Baptiste on his horse, and a great back check to prevent an outnumbered rush.
That one, Timashov onto the stick of Lear, who flips it in. Back over for Sandin. Now the Marlies looking to play a little bit more on the offensive side of things. Back for McMaster and across the line. Cuts in, shoots. He sent it wide. Mueller right back over to the far side. Rubens. He didn't get it quite flush, and it's in his feet. McMaster comes away with it. He's got Mueller going to the goal. Comes back up. Liljegren toward the goal. Low. It was going wide, but Wilcox grabbed it up with 7:19 left to play in the third period. What a play by Nicholas Baptiste, who had a goal this weekend against the Emirates. He saves one here.
Yeah, he really does. And, you know, when the opposition's heading offensively, you've got to make sure you get on your horse and head back and then join the rush coming back the other way as the defenseman, Steve Oleksy, looks up to see that Timashov stops up and spots him coming into the zone. One-time shot gets turned aside by Wilcox. But the Toronto Marlies will continue with this 2-goal advantage with coming up to 7 minutes to play here in the third period.
Page back along as they drop it across the line. Tennyson. Mueller along the end boards. Picked up back out front. Chance. Fought off. Another chance. Knocked away by Kaskasuo. What a save. Casimir Kaskasuo does not give up.
Wow.
Back out across the line and in, and it's offside.
I'll tell you, 2 glorious chances for the Rochester Americans, and Casimir Kaskasuo with 2 terrific saves to keep this a 2-goal opportunity, 2-goal advantage. And it starts though with that shot by number 10 Wayne Simpson, and then it's Kyle Crisculo is going to get the rebound, and going from his left to his right and then getting the paddle of the stick down is Casimir Kaskasuo, and he prevents the Rochester Americans to try to draw within a goal of the Marlies. And again, it's making the big save at the right time, and certainly right there, Kaskasuo does the job for his hockey club.
6:40 left to go. He had to hang on to that one. Helena comes into the circle to play here off the face-off. O'Regan opposite. And he won't get the chance. Gets a little information. Engvall comes in. He sets up right away. And now O'Regan, after complaining about his face-off mates, he'll get tossed. Asplund comes in. Off the draw, right back up. Hickey's got that big shot. He sends it off the end boards. Kaskasuo convinces it to stay back there. Back up, Hickey again. Sends one to the goal, and it is off. Out front, scores. Asplund makes it 4-3. And these Rochester Americans are not going away in this one.
Well, you can feel the way Rochester, these last couple of shifts, after they cut the lead to 4-1, they started to get their legs underneath them, and then here back in the offensive zone, they start below the goal line. It comes around the wall, it doesn't get out. Hickey keeps the puck in deep, but then what a pass, cross ice, and it's the 2 Swedes working together, and it's Olofsson right into the wheelhouse of Asplund, and he makes no mistake, and his second goal of the hockey game has made this a 4-3 contest as the Rochester Americans have got the Toronto Marlies on their heels, Todd.
And thinking about it too as they take a timeout here. And Rochester is playing in the 3rd game in 3 days, and they have a boatload of energy for this 3rd period. The Toronto Marlies playing in their 2nd game of the weekend. This will be the final one before they get 4 days off.
And it's funny too how, you know, at the end of the 2nd period of play, about 25 seconds left in the period, a goal post by Wayne Simpson. It could have been a 3-2 game going into the 3rd. And then the first 30 seconds of the 3rd period, Timashov's goal makes it a 3-goal hockey game, and it looked like, hey, Marlies are going to cruise to a victory here. But the Rochester Americans will not go away, and since making it 4-2, they've gotten some new life in their legs, and now it's a 4-3 hockey game with 6:27 to play. Better hold on.
Important to note, too, playing with 11 forwards, 5D injuries in this contest to Loverde and Brooks. Timashov back to the line and out. McWilliam turns around and gives it back to Olofsson. One of the things that certainly Marlies fans know and the team knows is that when you are going well, confidence is everything. This Rochester team has some confidence. Here's McWilliam. Long distance shot, and that is stopped by Kaskasuo. 5:56 left to go in the third period as the Rochester Americans draw within one.
Well, we've had 7 goals in this game, and this is what it looked like. Asplund opens the scoring for Rochester, but Scott Pooley gets on the board for the Marlies. Bracco makes it a 2-1 game. Pierre Engvall would make it 3-1 after 2. And then early in the third, Timoshoff makes it a 4-1 game, but C.J. Smith cuts it to 4-2, and now Asplund, again, his second of the game, makes it a 4-3 contest, and we've got 5:56 to play here in the third period, as tensions have been revved up a little bit here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum here in Toronto.
Paish, long shot, takes a right turn. Smith gets back to it, sends it back out front. There's the shot, and it goes wide. Back for Paish again. He stumbles along the boards, but an extra effort, but Engvall captures it. Now Pierre Engvall drops it in. Bracco goes after it. Lear will get there. Back for Porter. Backing up Mueller. Long one ahead for C.J. Smith. Liljegren trying to get a piece of it, and it comes right back up for Bracco, and he lifts it across the line. The Marlies will make changes. Engvall still out there. Getting over Oleksy to the far side. Sandin back out of the corner, sending it to the side of the goal. Simpson. This one finds itself onto the stick of Carcone. He's got some speed. Comes across the line. Timoshoff waiting to stay onside. Back behind the goal. Back up along the near side, and then right back to Elenuck, and it's beyond him. Morgan runs into the official.
It's been a common theme this weekend, hasn't it?
It sure has. That is lifted up and out of the zone, but it is into the bench of the Toronto Marlies. I think that went off Simpson, so it'll come outside the line. And you take a look at what the Toronto Marlies have to accomplish here.
Yeah, the North Division standings, you see the 5-point difference between these two clubs coming into today's action, and the Cleveland Monsters won today and have now tied with Belleville, and they jump over top because of more victories, and it'll be interesting to see that race coming down the stretch, as well as Toronto will play Belleville a couple times, and then the very last game of the season, the Cleveland Monsters here. That'll be interesting to see what transpires.
Could mean a whole heck of a lot for the North Division. Baptiste gets it back out. Asplund comes back and plays it. Doherty off into the corner, spinning back. Juris wanted to throw a stick on that one. Cross ice. Drop back. Asplund looks out front, finds a trailer on the play. Doherty toward the goal, and Kaskisuo, he got it, fell, and hung on.
Well, that's a big save for Casimir Kaskisuo, as the Rochester Americans again gain the zone, and it's the shot by Doherty, the defenseman, but all kinds of traffic at the top of the blue paint as it goes from one side to the other, and the shot comes, and Tennyson, the other defenseman who's pinched in and going to the goal, he might have got a piece of that, and Casimir Kaskisuo gets his leg on it and then scrambles to cover it up to get the face-off to his left.
Chris Mueller in the circle against Criscuolo. Rosen playing it along past Ramielli, and Engvall is able to gather it in. He fights off his check. Simpson, he's working back with Liljegren. Finds Liljegren, turning on it. Liljegren, Wilcox the save. He plays it along, back up along the near boards and out. Rosen gets back to it. He's got Bracco behind him. Liljegren on the far side of the ice, quickly off the boards. Bracco will give it right back. Liljegren has to step quickly. Back for Rosen. Less than 4 minutes to play. Elenuck on the board, just eases it in. Timoshoff will go after it. Tennyson's there, he moves it quickly. And Timoshoff again. Lear got by him. Reaching back for it was Elenuck, and he comes back across the line, picked up toward the goal. Carcone, Elenuck, and Carcone again. Stepping out, there's the shot from Oleksy, and he gets another decent one away. But here come the Amerks, cut off in the middle by Christian Rubens. Across the line. Picked up, nice play, Smith, shot on goal. Rebound, reeled in, not picked up by Kaskisuo as Rubens comes back to it. Timoshoff right to it. The Marlies escaped from one there.
Holy smokes, a nail biter or what? Like, that's unbelievable where Kaskisuo has to come up with a dandy save after Rochester continues to press.
Rosen. Molino on the Marlies side of the red line. Asplund asking for help. Baptiste moves it back to Sandin. Up ice again. Molino trying to get away. Plays it high off the ledge. And back up. Here's Juris out of the corner. 2.5 to play. Baptiste trying to get back to it. Juris back behind the goal. McWilliam pokes it off into the corner. Back up down the left side. Olofsson dangerous, but he loses the puck, and it's played back up to Baptiste, who is coming to the bench. Played into the Rochester zone. Everybody makes changes. Pache, the far side. Tennyson. Back up and in. A bouncer. There goes Wilcox out of the hockey game. Mueller trying to get to it. Picked up by Liljegren. Into the corner. Working up the wall. It comes to Simpson. Plays it off, and Rosen grabs it up. He's got Bracco up ahead, and Engvall couldn't quite get it to him, but the net empty. Ellie reaches back on it in front of the Marlies bench. Engvall reaching for it. Taps it one way, back the other. Liljegren will have to chase this one back. He's got Mueller in front of him, and he plays it along the far side. Rosen to Engvall, trying to get it back up and out. It drops along the far boards. Rosen again. Lifts it up and down the ice with good weight. The crowd would like to have seen that. Here's Smith behind his own goal. Minute 20 left to play in the third period. Marlies up by 1. Net empty at the Rochester end. Long one in. Asplund on the backhand. Into the corner, Olofsson. Looking out front. Liljegren plays it there. Asplund back high to the line, and it's kept in. Asplund again, down low into the corner, setting up to the far side. The shot goes up and into the glass. Last minute of play. Third period, out front it comes. O'Regan misses on the shot. Here's the second chance, and it's picked up and at the line, not out. Another shot off the side, back at the side of the goal. Marlies holding on here with 40 seconds left to play. Back up at the line, Tennyson, and that goes wide. Trying to launch into that one. Downside of the goal. Back up Tennyson, another blast. And that goes out of play.
Well, Rochester with the net empty and in favor of the sixth attacker. And I'll tell you, they have opportunities to pressure to get this tying goal. Then O'Regan whiffs on the shot, and then he gets a great chance and hits the backside of Liljegren, who gets in the shooting lane. And full scramble mode for the Toronto Marlies, and that was a little bit earlier where Kaskisuo had a diving attempt, and they tried to cover up the puck, and he couldn't get it. And good thing that there wasn't a Rochester player in the vicinity there. And timeout being called by the Rochester Americans because the Marlies had used theirs a little bit earlier. And we'll go back to that save a little bit earlier as the Marlies with the turnover, and what a great second effort by C.J. Smith. He used his stick to slap the Marlies defender's stick and dislodge the puck, and then he gets in. And Casimir Kaskisuo, 37 Rochester shots, 34 saves for Kaskisuo in this one, as they have been relentless since the Marlies had that 4-1 advantage here early in period number 3.
Josh Juris in to take the draw. Criscuolo opposite. Leaning in, it comes back up. Olofsson quickly. O'Regan to the goal. Scores! Tying it up at 4 apiece with 21.8 seconds left to go.
Kyle Criscuolo wins the faceoff, and then he goes to the net, and he's going to redirect this shot after they move it from Criscuolo winning the draw. It goes up to the point and then cross ice, and then just the wrist shot by O'Regan, and it gets deflected by Criscuolo. And oh my gosh, you can't believe that the 4 goals in a game here. You have a 3-goal advantage early in period number 3. and Rochester has come back and tied this up at 4 apiece. 21.8 seconds to play. Unbelievable.
Off the draw, it is Alexei, plays it along. Engvall goes after it in the corner. It's icing on the play. And the clock continues to run. And it gets down to 10.6 seconds, but it is 5 seconds that rolled off that clock. They come back to it. That one was at 15, I think, when the whistle went. Have to add that up. Shows 10.6 on the board. Gonna have to add this one up, and 12.6 seconds. I don't know. Now the Rochester Americans disagree, and I'm not sure I agree. I think it's still at least another second. He says it's 5. Chris Taylor thinks it's 5 seconds. And that's not going to be added at all. It's 12.6 seconds. And the Rochester Americans have themselves an offensive zone face-off. Juris wins it back into the corner. Picked up by the Marlies and sent down the ice. And that'll be picked up again as Alexei got to it. 4.3 seconds left to play.
Well,
they'll be happy if they can do that again.
You got to make sure you bear down if you're Josh Juris and win a draw here to at least secure 1 point and look for the bonus point in overtime.
Juris and O'Regan. Off the draw, Juris knocks it into the corner and held there by Alexei. We're going to overtime again for the Toronto Marlies. They already set the single season record for going to overtime at 18. This is number 19, Bob.
Wow, I wouldn't have expected this to have to come to overtime here with a 4-1 advantage early in period number 3. They allow Rochester to claw their way back into it, and we're going to see some extra time to see who gets the bonus point.
What would a Marlies game this season be without a little bit of extra time? We'll be back with that in a moment.
Well, Marlies up 4-1 in the third period of play. C.J. Smith would get his 25th to cut it to 4-2. And then Asplund would get his second of the game to make it a 4-3 hockey game. And then in the dying seconds of the hockey game, Kyle Crisculo gets a redirection past Casimir Kaskasuo, and we're tied at 4 apiece as we get set for the overtime period here at the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto.
Well, the first game these two teams played went to a shootout this year. And the Marlies were the ones that came back in that one. Grunstrom and Gagne scored to tie it up and send it into overtime. They didn't solve it there. They got into a shootout. And now Engvall, Timoshaw, Rosen, O'Regan, Asplund, and Olofsson will start things out here. We are underway in overtime. Once again, Toronto Marlies, 4 apiece. O'Regan coming back across the line, dashes in, shoots, scores. And the Rochester Americans complete the comeback in the third period and in overtime.
Well,
17 seconds in, make no mistake.
And the Rochester Americans have 3 forwards kicking off this overtime period, and it pays off big time as they get the puck in their own zone and they just wind up. And it's the drop pass by Olofsson, and O'Regan with some big speed, and he gets, the Marlies get caught standing flat-footed, and he walks between Engvall and Timoshaw, and he goes short side top shelf, and the Rochester Americans secure 4 points this weekend, and that is a big dagger for the Toronto Marlies. That's a tough one to swallow after a 3-goal advantage here on home ice.